You're listening to Together NJ, the podcast that's here to bring some joy into your day. Us resilient New Jersey folks keep finding ways to make things better for friends, neighbors, and even strangers during this time of crisis. NJ.com journalists are here to tell those stories of showing love in big and small ways. Do you miss sports yet? Here at NJ.com, our sports writers have been taking on all sorts of new roles while we suffer through this mostly sportsless pandemic. I'm Jessica Remo, a reporter on the features team here at NJ.com, and I'm with Casey Rowland, one of our high school sports reporters. Casey, what's a sports writer to do in these times? Have you taken to watching fishing, darts, cricket?
Yep, everything I can get my hands on, Jess. Cornhole is still going strong, Korean baseball, German soccer, all of it. But seriously, on behalf of all sports fans, we are going through it right now.
I can only imagine. But much to your relief, I'm sure you did stumble upon a sort of sports-related story here. And I've got to say, this one is a doozy. It's a tale about the love of baseball, a secret worth millions collection the likes Antiques Roadshow has never seen, and best of all, a 97-year-old guy with a truly Jersey nickname, Uncle Jimmy.
Yep, and you can't make this up, Jess, only in New Jersey. And so ever since they aired The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary on ESPN a couple months ago, card collecting has really risen in popularity, and I think just people having nothing to do during quarantine, combined with the airing of the Jordan doc and maybe people trying to get a Zion Williamson rookie card, there's been a lot of recent interest in the hobby. And I think it's a good time because one of the most incredible memorabilia collections in history has just hit the market, and it came straight from Uncle Jimmy's attic in Boonton.
I love it. I'm excited to hear the rest, so let's get to know more about Uncle Jimmy, shall we? Casey, take us away.
I've been a baseball fan my entire life, and speaking with a couple experts about all the different cards and photos and different artifacts in this collection was just surreal. There were 6 signed Babe Ruth cards from 1933, a near-mint 1949 Jackie Robinson card, a 1965 Pete Rose card in mint condition, and a 1969 Reggie Jackson rookie card that was graded a 10 out of a possible 10. There was a Mickey Mantle plaque made of cheap thin plastic from 1963, one that's only been seen a couple times since then. I think the craziest item, though, was a program and ticket stub from an exhibition game in 1942. The Yankees and the Washington Senators held a war benefit doubleheader to raise money for the Army and Navy during World War II. But before the doubleheader, they had sort of an old-timers game. Babe Ruth had retired 7 years prior, and Walter Johnson, one of the best pitchers ever, had been retired for 15 years. They both suited up, and Babe Ruth hit 2 home runs in the game, including one off of Walter Johnson on his first pitch. It was one of the most epic moments in baseball history, the kind of stuff they make movies out of. This collection could literally be made into a museum, with artifacts from many of the most famous games and athletes in the history of baseball. And it was just sitting in an attic of an old house at the top of a hill in Boonton. It is one of the most monumental and highest value baseball card collections in New Jersey, if not the entire country. And no one even knew it was there. We have these rare gems thanks to James Miccioni, a Jersey guy lovingly known as Uncle Jimmy. By all accounts, Uncle Jimmy lived pretty modestly. He lived in the same house for his entire life and he never drove a car, so he was well known around his hometown of Boonton. Sadly, he passed away at the age of 97 this March, leaving behind 7 nieces and nephews. Now, nobody realized he had spent most of his life building one of the most spectacular collections of baseball memorabilia the world has ever seen. He left the unbelievable collection to his nieces and nephews, and the experts I spoke with expect the collection to potentially fetch several $1 million in online auctions, which will take place over the next several months. Joe Orlando has been around card collecting for his entire life, first as a childhood hobby and then as a career. Orlando is the president and CEO of Collectors Universe, which is the biggest name in collectible authentication and certification, And they also own Professional Sports Authenticator, aka PSA. And if you know anything about collectible cards, you've seen the PSA grade in the top right corner with the 1 through 10. And even having seen firsthand some of the most remarkable finds in the history of card collecting, Orlando was just as struck as I was by the rarity and quality of Uncle Jimmy's collection.
Just those Ruth cards by themselves have a market value in the $500,000 to $2 million range by themselves. So then you add in all of the other material, and it's going to be neat in talking with the auctioneers. Every single item is going to be brought to auction, and I think that's exciting for collectors, because in some cases, when a find is unearthed, some of the stuff is sold privately, some of it comes to auction. In this case, every one of us that has the collecting gene is going to get a fair shot and to own something from this collection. So I think that's exciting for the collecting community.
Chuck Wisman is the owner of Wheatland Auction Services, which is the Lancaster, Pennsylvania-based auction house that's hosting the auctions for the Uncle Jimmy collection. A reverent title that'll be printed on each piece with a special label, forever commemorating Uncle Jimmy's dedication to memorabilia collecting.
Maybe once a decade something like this comes out. And, you know, the cool thing is nobody knew of his collection. You know, he was a private collector. He just collected his whole life. He didn't show it off to anybody. His family saw some of it, but it wasn't until he unfortunately passed away and the family was trying to figure things out and sort through things, and we helped them sort through things, that we found just the magnitude of just amazing item after amazing item.
Perhaps just as incredible as the collection itself is the manner in which Uncle Jimmy amassed his collection. Michione had complete sets from particular years, sometimes more than 200 cards, all in order in a binder. And even with all the rare autographs he'd acquired, Jimmy never waited in line for an autograph and never once paid an athlete for a signature.
What Jimmy did was he would write to the teams and write to the players, and he wrote them long letters, and he'd send a self-enclosed envelope, and they'd sign it and send it back to him.
The entire collection will be broken down into 2,000 lots and sold in multiple auctions, so no one can say just yet exactly how much the collection is worth, but perhaps the best card, one of the signed 1933 Babe Ruth cards, has a current bid of $92,500 with less than a week to go. Uncle Jimmy's 7 nieces and nephews knew he had an extensive collection, but none of them could have guessed that he would be leaving behind a small fortune for each of them. And whether you're a baseball fan or not, I think we can all agree that everybody would love to have had an Uncle Jimmy.
Thanks for listening. If you like the show, please rate and review it on Apple Podcasts. Find more of these lovely stories and tell us yours at NJ.com/TogetherNJ. If you're enjoying Together NJ, one way to support us is to purchase a digital subscription. Visit NJ.com/supporter to learn more.